Scott, Machine Gun Dad here. Well, welcome back to the channel. Recently, Nick and I did a series on the Marlin rifles and the Winchester Marlin comparison, and Jeremy saw it, and he has a YouTube channel, so he can introduce himself and tell him about your channel, and then he can tell us what this is.
I'm Jeremy. My channel is Firearms Fuel and Fabrication, and this is a Marlin 336W. These were brought out after Marlin was absorbed by the Freedom Group, which was owned by the Cerberus Group. They moved all the production to Olean, New York. And at the time these were out, these were built as cheap as possible. There are rumors that the W stood for Walmart, but these were built for big box stores. Cheap as possible. Low finish, like it's just a matte finish. It's not a blued finish like your typical Marlins. The quality control was very low on them. There are a lot of parts to improve these, so they're still a very good gun, but to take them from factory off the shelf, there were a lot of problems with them.
You mentioned the loading gate is an aftermarket part. What else is aftermarket on this besides the optic?
It's all Ranger Point. Did the loading gate, I did a medium loop lever, stock, the handguard assembly, and the internals of the feeding tube. I replaced the spring, follower, so that has all been changed. All the parts on the inside have been pulled, deburred, polished, and I also machined it and threaded it for a muzzle device to suppress it.
Okay, how do I, if I walk into a gun store and I have a used Marlin, and I'm assuming this came with wood furniture?
Wood furniture.
Is the giveaway the Parkerized finish?
Yes, the giveaway is the Parkerized finish.
So, in other words, if I go into a gun store and there's a Parkerized finish on a gun, on a Marlin, I should probably ask to see it function or make sure it functions properly?
I would pull it off the shelf, feel it, because they were very gritty. They like to lock up. They would have feeding issues.
Which is exactly opposite of what Nick's in mind was. They're like butter, the old ones. The old ones are like butter. Also, you have the setup for a suppressor?
I have it set up for a suppressor because whenever you put modern stuff on it like this to update it, might as well go with suppression.
Yeah, since it's black and has a, I don't know, is this an assault rifle now?
They actually call it a
get me demonetized on YouTube for having an assault rifle. Does it hold more than 10 bullets?
It actually holds 6, but they called them the Space Cowboys whenever they're built up like this.
Okay, what kind of can do you have?
This is a Silencer Co. Omega 300M 30 cal. Extremely quiet whenever you download this.
What we may do is we'll take one of my 3030s out and we'll do a side-by-side. I don't know what the mic will pick up, but we'll do a side-by-side comparison.
Okay.
See if we can hear a difference. I guess the only way to really figure out if it works is to go shoot it.
Absolutely.
I guess we'll go do that.
Good to go.
That wasn't actually very loud at all.
And these are the supers. Okay, this is with suppressor, 2 subsonics, followed by 2 supers. Subsonics are 8 grains of unique powder.
How many grain bullet?
175 grain, and it's a Hornet 8 sub X projectile.
All right, we've got each of his custom full power loads, unsuppressed versus suppressed. See if the camera will pick up a difference. Now, I don't know if the camera picked up a difference, but there's a difference. There's quite a difference.
Massive difference.
Can we each have one subsonic?
Yes.
Just to show you the subsonic, these look like Hornady bullets.
They are.
Even unsuppressed, which is what my gun will be, if I can get the bullet to go in, is so much quieter. I'm just going to do it the right way, the way Marlin intended it, than a standard 30-30 round. And then compared to what he's going to do, let's try one each. Huge difference. All right, we're going to go back inside and talk a little bit. We're back inside. Jeremy, we tried out his 30-30. I'll be truthful, I was a little skeptical, but then he said he loaded up his own subsonics, and I was impressed. So, obviously, if you're watching this part, you watched the shooting video. This is a standard, 175 grain load?
That is 150 grain. The powder charge on that one is directly out of the Hornady book.
So this is basically, you could go to Walmart and buy this.
Yep, that's off the shelf, 150 grain soft point.
Yeah, round nose soft point.
Yep.
So the big boom was this one. This is the one that's really cool. Tell us about this one.
Okay, this is a 175 grain Hornady Sub-X projectile, loaded at 2.515 overall length on a CCI 200 primer with 8 grains of Alliant Unique pistol powder.
For all you hand loaders out there, and if you got a 30-30, I was impressed. Even without a can, I don't think this was that loud. Nick, you were standing at the camera, and Shannon was in the blast. She was all right off to the right, so basically at the end of the muzzles. What did you think?
It was impressive. Unbelievable.
Shooting the subsonics with a suppressor almost sounded like you were shooting a suppressed 45, and it's a 30-30 coming out of that gun. It's impressive.
What I liked about it is, and I was telling Jeremy, is with the subsonics and a suppressor, you've made a gun out of a 30-30 that you could shoot in a small yard to kill varmints, because you're not going to have the 2,000 feet per second projectile bouncing around.
Yes.
You got a heavier projectile, and I believe you said this bullet is specifically designed to expand at subsonic speeds?
Yes, it is specifically designed for subsonic expanding.
Now, would I do this to my 30-30? No, I would not. But if I could buy a 30-30 project gun, that might be something to do. Unfortunately, I'm not much of a hand loader. When I used to hand load, it was with a Dillon Progressive, and it was as fast as I could pull the lever. I'm taking there's a lot of measuring involved in this.
Initial setup, yes, but I use a digital powder thrower. I throw it within 1 grain. I trickle it up to exactly 8 grain, dump it, and I use a turret press. So everything's set up on the turret press. I just put in and go through the processes turning the turret.
It is very impressive, and it makes an old gun a lot more flexible than...
Yes, it definitely brings them up to a newer age with the suppressor. And if you find a Marlin like one of these W models that were the cheaper model,
How did you get this on here?
I have a lathe.
You threaded
So I threaded it. I pulled the barrel. I threaded it.
Took the front sight off.
Yes, I took the front sight off.
One of the things I noticed, I don't know if it's going to show up, is that you were pretty close on with the subsonics.
Yes.
But when you put the supersonics on, you were above the target a couple
Yes.
times, or at the very top of the targets. So this gun's set up to run subsonics most of the time?
90% of the time. Now, enough shooting between the two, you can figure out your dial in
Yeah.
to change.
You can Kentucky windage or where, is that a mill? I didn't look.
Yeah,
is that
it's
a mill dot?
It's a mil dot. So, or no, this is MOA, and it's got quick dials in here that are zeroed out, so I can pull the cap. If I know I got to drop 7 MOA, I can dial it and it's done.
And one last thing, I don't know if the camera picked it up. Now, when I shot subsonics out of my unsuppressed 30-30, you still get the bang, and it was hard to hear it hit the steel. When he shot, all you heard it was hit the steel, and it's clunk, clunk. So quite impressive, and I want to thank you for coming today, and hopefully you'll come back and we'll try something else. He has a FRT,
I do have an FRT.
so we may be doing a comparison between the FRT and the real M16 and see what kind of rate of fire we come up with. So thanks for coming to the channel. Thanks for coming to visit. I'm going to give him copies of all the video. Maybe he'll post a video on his channel. Thanks again.